Situated in Endeavour's payload bay today are the various instruments that will be used to service the Hubble Space Telescope. These instruments include replacement solar arrays, the new and improved wide-field planetary camera, the corrective optics Space Telescope axial replacement, or COSTAR, and a package of gyro replacements. Also, 2 IMAX cameras will fly on this mission. One is mounted in the payload bay, and one will be handheld in the crew module. Currently located at the pad are the ice and debris assessment team. They will be making assessments of the they are in the process of making inspections and measuring the external temperatures of the vehicle. This follows the loading of the supercooled propellants, which occurred on time last night. This is shuttle launch control at T-minus 3 hours and holding, with about 32 minutes remaining in our hold this morning. We're standing by for live video of the crew donning their flight suits in the crew quarters, which is located in the operations and checkout building. And we have that video. Commander Dick Covey looked like he's all ready to fly, making some last-minute adjustments. He's preparing to make his 4th flight into space today. His pilot, Ken Bowersox, preparing to make his 2nd flight into space today. Ken considers Bedford, Indiana to be his hometown. Relaxed Story Musgrave, mission specialist, the veteran of space flight. He is preparing to make his historic 5th flight aboard the Space Shuttle today. Other crew members who are have already been suited up and are standing by for their commander and pilot to finish up. Kathy Thornton, mission specialist, preparing for her third flight. She is going to be one of our spacewalking specialists. Tom Akers. Mission specialist Jeff Hoffman, relaxing before the walk out to the astrovan that'll carry them out to the pad. And finally, our representative from European Space Agency, Claude Nicolet, putting on his gloves, making sure everything fits just properly. He's preparing to make his second flight into space today. These bright orange colored suits are basically an altitude and protection system. It includes the helmet, communications cap, and pressure garment, as well as the anti-exposure gloves and boots. These are partially pressurized suits. In fact, you can see that they are inflating Commander Covey's suit right now to check for any problems, any leaks that may be there. Back with a live shot of the vehicle at the pad. This is shuttle launch control at T-minus 3 hours and holding. We have just under 11 minutes remaining in our built-in hold this morning. We have live video coverage of our crew up on the third floor of the operations and checkout building as they make their way down the hall, preparing to depart for the pad. Commander Covey is going to be first, and he'll be boarded by mission specialist Kathy Thornton. They're making their way down the hallway to enter the elevator that will take them down to the astrovan. In the blue suit is Chief Astronaut Hoot Gibson, who will be flying in the shuttle training aircraft during our launch this morning, checking for weather concerns at the shuttle landing facility. Some employees at KSC are gathered early this morning to give a send-off to the 7-member crew as they leave for the pad. Commander Covey waving to members of the media who are present. Other members of the crew waving as well, giving signs of good cheer and showing that they're ready to fly. The crew are entering the astrovan, which will carry them to launch pad 39B, and we expect the crew to arrive at the pad's white room in just about 25 minutes. There has been a great deal of interest in the press who are witnessing the departure this morning. Members of the press have, of course, come from all over the country to witness our launch attempt today. Pad 39B is the northernmost pad of NASA's 2 shuttle launch facilities. It's nearly identical to Pad 39A, which is located just about a mile to the south. Both pads A and B were modified for space shuttle operations following the Apollo and the Saturn V programs. Richard Covey is the commander of this mission, and he is the one that is just now preparing to enter the vehicle. He is from Fort Walton Beach, Florida, and is making his 4th space shuttle flight. Covey first flew as pilot on mission STS-51I back in 1985, and he has also flown on the return to flight mission STS-26 in September of 1988. His most recent shuttle flight was that as commander for mission STS-38.
No problem.
In total, over its past 3 missions, he has spent 385 hours in space.
TC CDR, how do you read this morning?
Good morning, Dick. Got you loud and clear. Air to ground 1.
Got you same, George. Let's do it.
Yes, I'm ready.
Members of the closeout crew are shown in the video monitors wearing the white coveralls, and the astronauts, of course, are dressed in their orange flight suits. The closeout crew consists of both NASA and contractor personnel. At this time, all 7 crew members have been boarded into the Shuttle Endeavour, and they are in their assigned seats. The closeout crew are preparing to secure the white room. This follows the communications checks that were performed and the standard cabin pre-flight checks that indicate nothing was out of the ordinary.
TLS's go for orbiter access arm retract.
The orbiter access arm is now being retracted away from the vehicle. This is the walkway used by the crew to gain entry into and out of the vehicle, and it can be returned to position within seconds if need be.
KRPS, what do you say?
Just KRPS to verify that the recorders are running.
Copy.
T-minus 4 minutes and counting.
TLS's go for purge sequence 4.
T-minus 3 minutes, 30 seconds and counting. The final aerial surface checks of the orbiter's flaps and rudder is being completed. Also, the 3 main engines are being gimbaled as a final test before launch. T-minus 3 minutes and counting. All is continuing to go well for today's launch of the Space Shuttle Endeavour and the first Hubble Space Telescope servicing mission. This mission is scheduled to last 11 days and includes 5 spacewalks.
PLT, LTC.
Go ahead.
Clear caution and warning memory. Verify no unexpected errors.
That's all right. LTC, PLT, caution and warning memory clear is complete. No unexpected errors.
Copy.
Everything continues ready to fly today on NASA's 4.5 million pound space shuttle vehicle.
Roger, send word.
T-minus 2 minutes and counting.
TLS is go for ET, LH2 pressurization.
T-minus 1 minute, 45 seconds. Everything continues to look good for launch this morning. In about 90 seconds, the Space Shuttle Endeavour will begin its 11-day flight to visit the orbiting Hubble Space Telescope, but not before lighting up the nighttime Florida sky.
30 seconds.
The launch should be visible for hundreds of miles. The mission and the record 5 spacewalks will be watched worldwide. T-minus 1 minute and counting. T-minus 50 seconds and counting, and we are transferring to orbiter internal power at this time. T-minus 31 seconds, and we have a go for auto sequence start. Endeavour's onboard computers have primary control of all the vehicle's critical functions.
20.
T-minus 15 seconds. 11, 10, 9,
Go for main engine.
and we have a go for main engine start. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1,
20.
and we have liftoff. Liftoff of the Space Shuttle Endeavour on an ambitious mission to service the Hubble Space Telescope.
Roll program, Houston. Roger, roll, Endeavour.
Houston now controlling. Endeavour's underway. Rolled on course for an orbit with the Hubble Space Telescope. Endeavour already traveling about 300 miles an hour. Altitude 1 mile. 3 engines on Endeavour are throttled back to 2/3 throttle to prepare the shuttle to pass through the area of maximum air pressure and go supersonic.
Endeavour, go at throttle up. Roger, go at throttle up.
Endeavour's 3 main engines now back at full throttle. All flight control positions are go. Altitude now 10 miles, 7 miles east of launch pad 39B. Endeavour speed 1,700 miles an hour. 1.5 minutes since liftoff. Endeavour's already used more than 2.25 million pounds of propellant, and the shuttle weighs less than half of what it did at launch. Flight controllers are now standing by for burnout and separation of the twin solid rockets. Booster officer confirms a good.
Endeavour, 2-engine Banjul.
Roger, 2-engine Banjul.
Jettison of the solid rockets. That call also indicates that Endeavour could now perform an emergency transatlantic landing if needed.
Endeavour, performance nominal.
Roger, performance nominal.
Also, Endeavour's performance thus far has been just as planned. Altitude now 35 miles, 48 miles east of the Kennedy Space Center. Endeavour traveling 3,400 miles an hour. Booster officer confirms a good jettison of the external fuel tank.
Endeavour Houston, we see a nominal MECO, OHMS 1 not required.
Roger, Houston, OHMS 1 not required, and it's a beautiful sunrise.
It looked awfully good from here, too.
This is Mission Control Houston. We're just under 4 hours into the flight as Endeavour moves off the southern tip of Africa on the third orbit of the mission. Aboard the orbiter during the last half hour or so, we've been getting some wonderful views from the payload bay using a couple of the cameras. This is a camera mounted on the forward bulkhead of the orbiter looking toward the tail, identifying all of the equipment in the payload bay. Astronaut Jeff Hoffman aboard the vehicle just a short while ago reported that he didn't see anything out of the ordinary with any of the payload equipment here. Here in the forward part of the payload bay is the what's called the solar array carrier, which houses the new solar arrays which are used to gather the sun's energy to charge the telescope's batteries. Those arrays are currently scheduled to be installed on the telescope on the second spacewalk, which is scheduled to begin Sunday evening.
Hello, Claude. Hey, Sax. Hey, Covey. Hey, Thomas. Hey, KT. Hello, Story.
Does that complete our roll call?
I think that's it, unless you have an eighth guy out there somewhere.
How would you tell it was me?